Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Skip's Marysville Music Cafe, with lessons, in person and personalized. Instruments including guitars and amps, horns, strings for instruments, and a myriad of music and sound equipment. Skip's Marysville Music Cafe.
Laura, may we have roll call, please? Yes. Member Buttercoley? Yes. Member Donnie? Here. Member Roscoe? Here. Member Pretty? Here. Member Fonte?
Here.
Member Takar?
Here.
Mrs. Riley?
Here.
Thank you.
At this time, we will have our student reports. Welcome.
So, on Friday we had the Alumni Game. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
I'm Isabella, Avila. I am the YC student rep. On Friday we had the Alumni Game. It was YC versus Wood Creek. Over 90 cheerleaders from 1962 and current were at halftime. Of course, we had like all the posters. It was highlighted all the seniors and classes. We had prepared this week on this Friday. We have about 20 clubs who signed up. We also have the Kent Food Drive on the 24th through the 4th of next month. Donates to the Salvation Army. And also we have Powder Puff on the 21st, the 24th through the 28th. We have Spirit Week. On the 31st we have a costume contest, and the 4th of next month we have a student versus staff basketball game.
Hi guys, welcome to this board meeting. I'm Eddie Jensen. I'm the River Valley School Board representative, and so I'm just going to get kick-started on what ASB has in plan for River Valley. Involving sports, volleyball had a game versus Roseville today. I believe the varsity game is going on right now, and on October 13th, we have another volleyball game against Indercup. Next week, ASB is planning on doing a ping pong tournament all through next week involving teachers and students to get more collaboration within the two groups of people in River Valley. The Fall Festival, I know I went into detail on Fall Festival during our last school meeting. Just to recap, Fall Festival is a day to get clubs and students out to get community involvement and have clubs generate a little bit of money so we can start seeing some more club involvement out in our community. So currently we are trying to set up our club fundraiser forms so that way they can submit applications to vend food or run games. We're really trying to spice it up this year to keep the kids happy. Movie night. On the 21st of October, we are planning on doing a movie night. We are opening a student vote for movie night tomorrow, I believe. So if any of your kids go to River Valley, they're more than welcome because there will be no entrance fee. It'll be free to come because we want as much student involvement as possible. October 28th is our Great Fall Rally. Great Fall. And so this rally is really just to encapture fall sports and really recognize the people who have been standing out and been putting in work for River Valley and putting on the jersey to represent us in a positive light. Now, if you have kids at River Valley, I think they all know what's coming. We do have midterms October 13th through the 14th. So those days will be minimum days, which is very nice, but make sure all your kids are preparing for midterms October 13th to the 13th. October 31st, we're planning on holding a Halloween costume contest. We're still deciding on prizes and stuff to really get kids involved with the Halloween season. Last but not least, we do have a YCUSD leadership festival on November 3rd. So just to roll into that a little bit, we do have the complete schedule, and our ASB as well as Yuba City ASB has been working tirelessly to start putting together stuff for the younger generation of leadership students to come together and learn what it really is about. And that is pretty much all I have here for River Valley ASB. Thank you for your guys' time, and have a great rest of your night.
Next, we have staff recognition. We don't always hear how much we appreciate the work that you do, and so we now have at each board meeting what we consider staff recognition. All our staff's important as we go along.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, staff, and audience members. Again, this evening we sought to recognize members of our staff who have taken either unique or extraordinary measures to educate today's students to succeed in tomorrow's world, and staff members who have helped us to realize the YCUSD vision that our students and staff will be lifelong learners, creative problem solvers, and responsible, ethical, and respectful contributors in a global society. We take this time because we know recognition builds a work environment that realizes overall excellence by increasing productivity, promoting retention of top performers, and encouraging ongoing improvement. With that, I'd like to share the lectern with Mr. Brown. I'm just going to have you come up first. If you would bring up the person you're recognizing, and if others could do the same, as he introduces our first recipient of our Certificate of Excellence.
Thank you, members of the board and cabinet. In my 27 years in the district, I don't recall this type of recognition happening. So thank you for bringing it to the forefront. And for Lincoln Elementary School, our staff made all the nominees and made the selection, and they could not have chosen a more worthy person. Nancy Hummel, who in our conversation just shared with me that she has been a teacher for 36 years and in Yuba City Unified for 31 years. So I'd like to give a round of applause. And I could stand up here for hours talking about Nancy. I mean, she was one of the first people that greeted me last year when I transitioned over to Lincoln School, and filled me in on, gave me a quick rundown on the history.
It was a nice one.
It was. But what I want to do is share some of the remarks that some of our staff members made. One staff member said, and I'm only going to read two because a lot of them were repeating the same type of information, but Ms. Hummel is the embodiment of an outstanding teacher. She goes above and beyond for her students and their families every day. She makes a personal connection to every one of her students and always has their best interest in mind. Nancy is phenomenal inside the classroom and out. She brings so much to Lincoln Elementary School, aside from her efforts in the classroom. She runs our Sunshine Committee and heads our Patriotic Day annually for the students. And those of you that have been to our Patriotic Day, she'll probably starts planning next month for Patriotic Day in May. It's a big undertaking, and she does a fantastic job. Her efforts, commitment, and follow-through are seen throughout the classroom and campus. Nancy goes above and beyond her duties as a teacher. Nancy is our sunshine leader and always is going out of her way to bless staff with gifts of get well, etc. And another staff member wrote, Nancy decorates our staff room monthly, provides us our Patriotic Day, and spends hours above and beyond what is expected on a daily basis. So with that, Nancy, I just want to say congratulations, and it is more than deserving to have you recognized tonight.
Mr. Brown. Thank you very much. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Nancy, that certificate is on behalf of the board. We do appreciate you and congratulations.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Karen, Mary, whoever would like to.
Good evening, board, cabinet, and members of the audience. Tonight, I am honored to present to you Mrs. Cron. Mrs. Cron is an amazing special education teacher at April Lane. Kathy works with a clear sense of purpose to help students reach their academic goals. She understands that education encompasses more than effective teaching practices and continues to seek professional development at every opportunity. Kathy collaborates with her grade level teams for the purpose of supporting students and wants the best for general education students as well as her learning center environment. Kathy comes to work on a daily basis with a huge smile on her face. She jumps in to help social emotional needs on campus in a moment's notice. Kathy is 100% dedicated to the progress of every student at April Lane. It is a true pleasure to work with Mrs. Cron. Thank you.
Everything to you for it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You want to do one more? Did you want one more? Did you want to finish? Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me, board, cabinet, and audience. Unfortunately, our recipient wasn't able to be here tonight, but I still would like to take a minute just to honor him because he's such an amazing individual. So our school nominated Mr. Marcus Neely, who is a paraprofessional in our Read 180 intervention programs on our campus. He helps the district achieve its mission by fostering positive relationships with students and by supporting educators who work with students that are struggling academically. He's calm, caring, helpful towards all students and staff. He has a passion for mentoring youth and helping them to see that they are strong, amazing individuals that can accomplish so much. We collaborated together on a project to give our students an uplifting mantra called I am a product of gray to help speak life into our students. And he is an amazing lyricist as well and uses those talents to help support our students. We have this mantra in all of our student planners on campus. In everything he does in his work on our campus, he encourages kids to be their best selves, to see school as a place that will help students grow and succeed. And we were definitely blessed to have him on our campus. And I just wanted to take a moment to honor him, even though he's not here tonight. So.
You're lucky. Give it to him. All right, now we'll pass it along. Thank you.
Very nearly to Gina.
Roger. You're the last one, so I'll do sure. I'm recognizing.
All right, good evening. I'm captain, members of the board. My name's Silas, and I'm the principal at Yuba City High School. I'm beginning my second year, so this is my first board meeting attending. So pleasure to be here, and thank you guys for having me. This is Carrie Spencer. She's my admin assistant at Yuba City High, aka the boss at Yuba City High School. She's the face of our school. She's the first person that folks see when they come on campus. She's our resident historical expert on all things Yuba City. She's our resident expert on protocols and how to get things done. When I started last year, I probably asked her 40 times a day, how do I do this? And she knew the answer every single time. And still today, it's probably a dozen times a day. Well, how do we get this done? So a lot of times I like to say she's my right arm and my left leg. I couldn't do it without her, but wouldn't be able to walk her or type or anything if she wasn't with me. She's got all the answers. So she's beloved by all of our staff. She's organized. She's always on time. She never misses a day of work. She's friendly. She's professional. She delivers honker customer service with a smile for the last 11 years. The staff adores her. When you think Yuba City High, a lot of times people think Carrie Spencer, so congratulations.
Again, on behalf of the board, I'd like to thank all of you that were recognized. You're certainly deserving of the attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda are comments from the public on items not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, would you read, please?
Items not appearing on the agenda notice to public. The Brown Act, specifically Government Code Section 5495. It is adequately described in a timely procedure. Accordingly, though the public may comment on matters within the board's jurisdiction that do not appear on the agenda, the board cannot respond to such comments without running the risk of deliberating or initiating discussion on topics not properly before the board. Given the prohibitions set forth in the Brown Act and the risk associated with not responding to public comments, the board does not comment on the community's questions or comments. The board will respect the rights of the public to express their viewpoints on matters within the board's jurisdiction. However, comments that are defamatory or that violate the privacy rights of any students or individuals may not be protected by law. The board shall not permit any disturbance or willful interruption of board meetings. Can we get on to?
They're all on item 10. Ashpreet Kirk.
Good evening to the school board, and my name is Ashpreet Kaur. I am a junior at Yuba City High School, and I'm CARE intern. You may remember CARE from last year. Now we started our second year. CARE is a public health internship that deals with substance abuse and issues within our community. It's youth-led, and last year one of our goals was to bring Narcan into schools. We have talked to school admin and the superintendent about bringing Narcan into schools in nasal sprays that reverses opioid overdoses, and we have received a positive response. We are super grateful and happy that the school admin have implemented a Narcan policy and are working with staff to ensure student safety. We thank the school board and superintendent for being proactive and bringing change to campuses to protect students' safety and ensure better futures.
Good evening to the school board. My name is Manreen Gung, and I'm a junior at YC and a CAD intern. Recently, we had a meeting with admin from YC and RV and Superintendent Asumi regarding CAD. We went over the plan to implement Narcan within our schools and within our high schools and middle schools, and as well as our elementary schools. In addition to that, we are hoping to find more ways to help the community against the looming threat of substance abuse. We are glad that the county is thinking beyond teens and understands the substance abuse has been impacting younger generations as well. They are thinking of all the youth that are at risk. We plan on working together to bring more awareness to the issue prevalent in our community.
Thank you. Cora, oh, I'm standing wrong.
Good evening to the school board. My name is Harpreet Kaur, and I'm a sophomore at Yuba-Sutter High School and also a care intern. Instead of being reactive, the school board has been proactive about situations around CAD, and we are really appreciative of that. Not too long ago, on September 13th, a student in Los Angeles High School passed away because of fentanyl-laced pill. A related incident occurred at Chipman Junior High School in Bakersfield. A student was searched by a school supervisor, and they found 150 fentanyl-laced pills on the student. Due to the supervisor being exposed, he unfortunately faced an overdose, showing just how strong of a drug fentanyl truly is. But luckily, the officer did have an Narcan on him, which saved the supervisor from an unintentional overdose. Many schools face the problem of overdose that we really don't even know about, and by having Narcan on campus, we're able to save so many lives and protect the students. We can't wait to see how the policy implemented will better our campus and community. Thank you.
Would one of you like to explain for those in the audience that don't know what Narcan is? Come back to the podium and explain what it is.
So just to clarify, you wanted me to explain Narcan?
Yes.
So Narcan is a nasal spray. I know it can be pronounced as like Maximum, I believe, and it helps with opioid overdoses. I know fentanyl is a very powerful opioid. It's like 10 or 100 times stronger than even heroin. And as Harpreet mentioned, even like just being exposed, not even consuming the drug itself, can cause a reaction like an overdose. So within like at least 15 minutes, if you do administer the nasal spray, you can reverse the effects of the overdose, saving their life. So I think it's very important that we have it within our schools, because substance abuse has been going further beyond just, I know as we used to think of it, homeless people were the drug addicts, but now it's coming into our schools. So that's why we wanted to take today to come make our school board for listening to our concerns and bringing Narcan into our schools.
Thank you. Mr. Loomis.
Good evening. I'm Paul Loomis, Yuba-Sutter High School teacher. Honorable board members, superintendent, assuming staff, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back again to talk to you about mental health services for our students. And I want to build on what we did last year. And I'm going to gently but persistently come back and remind you and remind myself and remind this community that we need on campus, on demand, free mental health services for every student. That means not just adults writing reports, which is fine. It means not just programming, that's fine. It means counseling. It means licensed therapists who can provide services on campus to their clients, who would be students, who can ask for these services. The governor, the timing is great. Really, the timing is great because the governor has just approved, or has a plan that he wants to approve $47 billion for mental health services for California students. You know this, and I'm sure that the superintendent and staff are going to work hard to get our share of those funds so that we can have improved mental health services for our students. I want to just say that the goal, I hope, the goal should be on campus mental health professionals who are available to all students who want those services. Professionals, licensed, bonded, insured professionals working on our campuses with their own office space to service clients in the form of students who need those services. When I worked as a long-term sub for years ago for Mount Diablo Unified, 25,000 students, they had these services on their campuses. They had licensed therapists on their campuses for students. And we need these services now more than ever. Yes, we have the wellness center. That's a step in the right direction. But it's a very small step. We need treatment. We need real treatment for students on demand on our campuses. And I'll be back to pick up that thread and bring you some more information. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I see some familiar faces. My name is Margaret Artist, and I'm a resident of Yuba City, and I have several grandchildren who school in the district. I'm here because I'm concerned about student discipline, and I've written something up, and I apologize. Of course, I go to print it for each board member, and the printer would not work. So I will make sure I have a handwritten copy, which I'll give to Doreen, and I'll make sure that you get it. Doreen, I would like to request that the River Valley High School administration and the district office administration further examine the circumstances and outcomes of the assault and battery of Gina Artist at River Valley High School. It happened on September 16th, and I would further like to request that the board, It happened on September 16th, and I would further like to request that the Yuba City Unified School District consider further discipline of the student assailant. I do understand the boundaries of confidentiality. I also request that I be informed in writing of the results of your further examination. And I really think discipline in the schools, I think there are many, many problems, many fights, teachers being struck, and it's just, something has to happen to change that. Thank you.
I had requested that, bye. We will have.
You can leave the baby behind.
We will have a report at the next. We will have a report at the next board meeting on campus security. Which I hope will give us a better understanding of how student discipline is determined. So look forward to that on the 25th of November. Thank you.
October.
What is it?
November.
It's wishful thinking. October. Developer impact fees. We have a report on that, please.
Yes, this is a regular recurring report that is approved by the board every year. It is something that we also post on our website, and it should just require disclosure. We collected 729,000 in developer fees in the year 21-22, and 34,000 was spent on leased buildings in that year. That is the report.
Okay, do you have any questions? Summer food services program.
So this is, a lot of our programs are audited, and this is just one of those audits. So our summer food program was audited for 21-22 and passed with flying colors. So it's just disclosing the audit report.
Or any questions? Next item is the consent agenda. Is there any item that any member wishes taken separately?
I have a question.
Sure.
About 12H, specifically the Meet Your Team classrooms.
but that kind of has to do with the action item too, so.
Do you want to, what's your wish?
Can we look at this item? Yeah.
You want to pull item, okay, we're gonna pull item H by request. May I have a motion on items 12A through 12G?
Make a motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve items 12A through 12G of the consent agenda. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Do you want to take 12H now, or?
Can we do it after 13A? Is it possible after the action? If they're tied together?
So 12H is.
Or was it 12H before?
It's also, it's meteor purchase, that, to be honest with you, I won't be able to speak to them.
So Pam, what's on consent, what's on action? So the item on consent.
The Meteor, the additional key new classrooms from 12H, they are tied. One,
Okay, let's do it this way. We'll move on to 13A, and Jasmine, see if that answers your questions. Could you please report out, or whoever's doing 12A?
We had a few teachers change their mind about the furniture project. When we initially sent out information for teachers in grades 3 through 5 to participate, some teachers chose to opt out. However, since then, over the last few months, some of them have had more experience with some of the furniture in the pilot classrooms, or for a variety of different reasons changed their mind. Some of them had initially felt like they weren't going to be able to have time because of the holiday break to be able to pack up and prepare for that holiday transition, but now plans have changed, or they feel like they will be able to manage it, so they've opted in. And because of that, we have some changes in the amount of furniture that's being purchased, so that's what this is. We allowed up till the beginning of this month for teachers to change their mind and go ahead and opt in.
Jasmine, does that answer your questions, or would you like to entertain them now?
I just have a couple of questions.
Sure.
Because I have heard some questions.
Is it on 12H or 13A?
So, what kind of?
Okay, both. Go ahead. After Jasmine makes her comments, we'll go back to vote on 12H, and then we'll go to 13A. Go ahead, Jasmine.
About the selection process, and I know some have voiced that that they either would not like to participate in this. And I know this is kind of an ongoing discussion about furniture. But I just wanted to bring up, I could have sworn at a previous board meeting, we had talked about like the furniture selection kind of being a menu of options before, and that somehow has changed to like it being like a fixed set within each grade level. I can understand that like, if there's a menu, there's gonna be some challenges with what gets put into what classroom and whatnot, but it just kind of seems like a one size fits all, but when we look at student learning, it's not a one size fits all. So is there any type of way that we can add some flexibility into this? And we might be too far in the process, I don't know, but that's just kind of what I'm hearing.
There was a menu for the pilot. And so we went through, teachers volunteered to participate in the pilot. They represented their peers in their grade span on choices. There was quite an extensive menu for choices at the initial portion. They tried out different things. We made a lot of adjustments based on that information. And they finalized, the design for each grade level. And now that is what the teachers have. There are 4 options that they get to choose from for things that vary by classroom. They can choose to have this flip top whiteboard. That's one option. They get to have an additional whiteboard that folds down and can push against a wall. Some teachers really like having that, others aren't interested, so they get to choose whether or not they have that. There are mailboxes, there's a set of mailboxes that they can choose to have or not to have in their classroom. They get to choose which type of rug that they want, the carpet for their carpeted area. That's one of the options. There's a selection of rugs, they get to choose from that. And they get to choose the type of chair that they have for their personal chair. In addition, with the desks and chairs in the classroom, there's a variety of different kinds of chairs. The pilot teachers, after having experience with it, liked a certain number of chairs that were rockers, a certain number that were kind of like chairs that were sort of like balls that you sit on, that kind of have a rounded top. A lot of different student type experience chairs to meet those different needs of students in the classroom. And then there's high top tables where kids can sit up taller if they want, that are options towards the back of the classroom. And these different options change by grade level, and they also change once you get to middle school by content area based on the needs of the content areas.
So there is some level of standardization, Jasmine, and part of it is ensuring that we have equity across the district regarding what students have in the classroom. So we've tried to provide as many options as possible, but in terms of the desks and some of the other standard types of furniture, there is by grade level some standardization, just as there's standardization now. And so again, it's about equity to make sure third graders across the district have the same type of access and furniture within their classrooms.
The other question I had was, when you talk about like the teachers have the option to select different chairs and whatnot, are we basing that, the selections, as far as like with a mindset of ergonomics? So that way those teachers don't have to come back to us and request a different chair based on their ergonomics?
Yes, these are very ergonomic chairs.
So that you do mean the teacher chairs?
Yeah.
Yes, so they're adjustable, up, down.
Well, you know, like, I'm sure that this district does it too, county does it as well, they do ergonomic evaluations based on height and posture, whatever, but are these, I'm just asking, like, if we're buying these chairs for the teachers, is it something that aligns with?
Yes, so those chairs are designed to be adjusted for different heights, different, so depending on, my chair is gonna look different than Greg's chair, but they could be the same chair, but how I adjust it. But there is availability for ergonomic evaluations if they're necessary. But these chairs are designed to be adjusted to meet the needs of the
but essentially, if we were going to an ergonomic evaluation, these chairs would be options for those teachers as
It's
well.
about just adjusting the chairs that we have, yeah.
Well, ergonomic evaluations are usually done before you purchase the chairs.
Part of the whole process included.
Yeah, I don't have any further questions.
If there are no further questions, can we take item 12H, please, unless some of you haven't? Okay, can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion that we approve 12H.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve 12H. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Let's move on to the action item 13A.
I make the motion that we approve 13A.
I'll second.
We have a motion and 2 seconds to approve 13A. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Pardon? Item 14, board reports, information and discussion. I think, and I was not present, there was a personnel committee meeting. Would one of you care to?
Well, the personnel committee did meet on Thursday of last week. Mike did a really good presentation of, different things that his department is in charge of doing.
Yeah, you can share the staffing adjustment, right, from specialists to technicians, how it's working.
like means the numbers, like how your department's changed?
Yes, we talked about the department, HR department itself, but the majority of the meeting was a review and update of our work in the strategic plan area for human resources. So we're just providing an update on actions that we take in the various areas that were put into the district's strategic plan.
Was there any discussion of additions to supervision on the campus? Okay. I've asked that school security be put on the agenda for the next board meeting. And I think one of the concerns, and I'm going to just put the elephant out of its cage, is the security of teachers as well as students and how we're addressing that. It's become a big issue. And some teachers are reporting that they don't feel safe. So that is why I asked that it be put on the agenda, just so Cabinet knows that those are going to be questions coming from some members of the board. Okay. So, do we have any other committee reports?
What is that date on?
Come up on the 18th for facilities committee.
Is it 18th or the day?
Yeah,
They
18th.
go to the 27th. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we meet on the 27th.
We have someone on the 18th. I thought.
We have a technology committee on the 18th, and then the other meeting, facilities meeting, at a later date.
Yes. 27th, we will be meeting and then we will report out.
And if there's any specific agenda items that you would like addressed in that, maybe let us know.
Who's on the technology committee?
Greg, I believe.
Is there any plan in the future to have a graduation planning meeting? I know that 2 years ago, there were some changes to how valedictorians and salutatorians and it set up a whole slew of problems because kids weren't really aware of it. So I was just wondering if there was any need for or desire to have a graduation committee reconvene and kind of look at what kind of went south, because there was a lot of angst last year when kids found out that they thought they were going to be a valedictorian and they weren't. And then,
so the graduation policy is a board policy, so that would be the direction of the board. We'd like to have the graduation policy regarding the valedictorian, salutatorian we looked at. The direction of the board. It's a policy.
I think, but didn't the policy come from the committee?
It was a request by the board, and then I think if I remember, the graduation committee then met to discuss it.
Because there was some confusion last year about how the selection was done. And I'm not sure if the confusion was the site administrators or the parents. I don't know. Shelley's right. There was a lot of discussion and a lot of people were not happy.
Did change it.
Well, we actually changed it a year ago. I think we just didn't publicize the change.
Well, it was publicized, but I think that the implementation happened, and then the implications of the actual implementation caused, because again,
Change is hard. Well, change is hard, but it becomes less challenging if we alert the public. For some of them not to find out, and not my words, their words, not finding out until graduation.
Right.
It made us look less than transparent.
Well, and I believe that the information was shared, and again, it's, there's, whether they got it or not or read it, I don't know, but it was sent out. But there was anxiety and tears.
Hopefully this year, now that it's been another year, people are more aware of it.
Madam Clerk, do we have any written communications from the public? No. Comments from employee representatives? Who's going first? Flip a coin, please. Oh, okay.
Good evening, board members, members of the public or staff, and anybody else out there. I'm Viola Pins, president of the Yuba-Sutter Teachers Association. First thing I'd like to address is it was a PD day last Friday. So teachers across the district, speech and language pathologists, social workers, which been now already, and psychologists, somebody else, all engaged in professional development across the district. It was site-based professional development. They engaged in talking about data. They engaged in talking about ways to work together and collaborate. They talked about a variety of other issues to address student needs. But perhaps one of the greatest areas of student need that we all need to address is how to increase student engagement. We all thought that last year was going to be great because they were all back in school. Yay, we've got them in person. It wasn't quite as rosy as we had hoped. And then this year, we're like, okay, they've got a whole year under the belt. This year, it'll be better. And it's still a struggle. Our kids are still struggling. There's still so much, and it's not just the learning gap. It's not just the holes in their academic learning. It's social emotional growth that we need to address. It's students' engagement. It's tearing students away from these things because they got to a point of being passive and able to be really passive because they can't scream out, not be there at all. So we need help. We all need to figure this out together. I don't think anybody's got all the answers, but if we don't engage in the tough conversations about how to figure it out, we're not going to get anywhere. We need student engagement strategies. We need more discussion of trauma-informed instruction. And we also need to support our parents out there. For example, we can do a lot to educate parents on, you can turn these things off from 9 p.m. till 6 a.m. so your child doesn't stay up till 2 a.m. and falls asleep in their class. Or how you can get it so they can turn them off during the school day. All of these things are ways we can all support each other. It's going to take a community and a group effort for us to continue to make progress as we emerge into our new normal. And our new normal includes how do we address safety at school. So I appreciate Board President Riley's push towards looking at campus security. I appreciate Mrs. Artist coming forward tonight to talk about the assault on River Valley. It gives me the opening to talk to all of you about safety on school campuses. There's two areas in which that applies. One is our ever unfortunate president's fear of an active shooter on our campuses. I appreciate the district made a decision this year in conjunction with law enforcement and other consultants to not do a lockdown active shooter drill this fall. The basic premise of that was that we didn't really need the practice on that front, and that maybe it was a little traumatic for kids to engage in active shooter. Instead, what we got, or getting, I've been at 2 different sites where it's happened, getting teacher training on things to do. First strategy being make sure your door is locked. So while we do have been asked to keep our doors locked at all times now, it's disruptive for instruction, I gotta tell you. The knock on the door, every time somebody leaves to go to the restroom or wherever else they're going, could be a bit disruptive, but we've been asked to do it for safety. But the idea was to go to that door and make sure it actually latched. That was one of the problems at Vivaldi. And then after assuring that it's locked, know where your fire extinguisher is. And we've now been trained on to fire the fire extinguisher so that it is in the face of any assailant that comes into the room, so that then they can't see their hands are like this. And then the idea is we're crouched down low, and to hit them with the fire extinguisher and use it as a weapon. I won't tell you where they told us to hit the intruder. I do hope that our principals do not come into our room during any of these lockdowns. This would not be pretty. So that's one piece of school safety, but the other piece of school safety is what if our kids not being okay? And quite frankly, we're the whole world we're living into this. Anger and violence are just too prevalent. So I want to call to your attention a couple pieces of Ed Code before I address those issues of campus security. Education Code 48915 has mandatory recommendations for expulsion and says shall recommend for expulsion, which means I would have hoped that board members would have heard about these recommendations for expulsion. I respect the decision of this board when you hear all of the specifics to make a decision to not expel a student or to put the student on a behavior contract in lieu of expulsion. I actually think that's a preferable outcome to an expulsion, because the idea is to correct student behavior and give them the opportunity to understand the rules that they're expected to follow and that there's a contract. So here's some mandatory expulsions. And it's number 3 under 48915. Possession of a knife, explosive, and it goes on. There was a student with a knife at Yuba City High School 3 or 4 weeks ago. I only know about this because it happens to be one of my students, and I clicked on the little SSA button, and sure enough, he had a knife with a blade of 2.5 inches. Had it been longer than 2.5 inches, Ed Code would have required you that you immediately report that to law enforcement. But he was not recommended for expulsion. Again, I'm not recommending that he should be expelled, just that we need to take those necessary steps to assure that our students really get it, that you need to change your behavior. Number 5, assault or battery as defined in section 240 and 242 of Penal Code upon any school employee. So I then researched Penal Code 240 and 242. And 240 and 242 deal with, are they going to, have they considered or possibly were going to carry out the actions against another person, or did they actually carry out those acts? Those acts have happened. So we did push YCTA that law enforcement be notified, that law enforcement reports be filed, but neither one of those students were recommended for expulsion. In the case at River Valley High School, the student was not recommended for expulsion, and there was a 3-day suspension. The teacher was assaulted in battery. That is, not only did the student possibly attempt to hit her, the student hit her, left a bruise on her face, knocked her glasses off her face, and broke her glasses.
Excuse me, Gina, was law enforcement called?
I do not believe law enforcement was called at the time, but I do know that subsequent to YCTA's push, that law enforcement has now been, a report has been filed with law enforcement.
Is this for Gina?
Yes, that is the assault at River Valley High School.
Just so you know, when law enforcement is called, because I train law enforcement, the child should have been issued a citation and appeared in probation to determine whether it goes on to court or not. Was that done?
I am not aware that that was done, and we have not been told that was done. And then we also have a similar, perhaps a more egregious case at Yuba City High School, and the same happened. In that case, the student is no longer at Yuba City High School, but I do not believe this board got a recommendation for expulsion for that student either. And I would imagine you may have heard from the teachers involved in that case. What YCTA is asking for is we need to have a hard and fast line that you've got to protect us. We have to feel like we're safe. And I've got teachers who don't feel like they're safe, who there have been multiple altercations between students at our campus, and teachers have tried to move students away from that, only to be assaulted with verbal profanity and blatant defiance. That's quite frankly scary. We're only in control. There's more of them than there are of us. We're only in control if you've got our back. We need to have our back. Our job is hard enough out there without feeling like our lives are physically at risk. I will tell you that the added piece for the UBC High School case was that in that case, when the 2 teachers extorted that student down to the principal's office, the student also threatened them with grave bodily harm, as in, I will come back and shoot. That student lives within blocks of the City High School's campus. It left staff members feeling unsafe. And that brings us to another issue on the Yuba City High School campus. Park Avenue has 2 gates that, while they are locked at all times, they are push gates, which means that I encourage you to watch at any point in time during school days the number of students who exit through those push gates during school day, or who enter through those push gates because they texted somebody else to get out of class to come open the gates from. We've got some security and safety issues that we need to address, and we need to do it together. So I urge you to help us feel protected and safe on our campuses. And it's not just about protecting your staff, it's about protecting our students.
Are you saying it's like we have kids at Park Avenue School cutting class already?
Oh no, this is a Park Avenue gates at Yuba City High School. There's those 2 gates there. And
so they texted someone to open the gate.
Open the gate from the inside.
all the time. Yeah. And that's the other problem with these things is.
Okay.
But thank you, I appreciate you listening. This really is, first and foremost on our minds these days. Thank you.
Good evening, board members. I'm Mercedes Stroll, and I'm representing our classified unit with CSEA. And I'm going to, Gina said so much, and I'm like ditto, right? But I'm going to reiterate some of that. But I want to start with congratulations to our recipients tonight. Carrie Spencer, wow. I mean, I'm pretty good at putting absences in and that sort of thing, but whenever I have kind of messed up, she's always been so graceful. You know, it's like, no problem, I can take care of you. You know, she is just a wealth of knowledge there. And Marcus Neely, I don't know him, but I have done some Read 180, and I know it's quite a challenge. So if he's out there rocking it in Read 180, I know he must be a real rock star. And Nancy Hummel, I've known her for years. Ways to meet your friends. So I know that she does a fantastic job as well. So congratulations on those recipients. We're going to touch base on some training for mental health issues. We talk a lot about we train our teachers. We had a PD day for certificated staff, and I know it's part of their calendar. Classified was just off, most of us, some classified work, right, if you're school attendance day. But what an opportunity to train us in looking for some of those mental health issues. Nobody talks to us about what to look for in a student. Whether you're a paraeducator in the classroom, groundskeeper out on the grounds, we see students all the time, and we need to have those cues on what we're looking for, because it's not their faults, right? We do have the gates that are an ongoing problem, and it's actually 3, because there's the one at the top of the parking lot and the 2 back by the 200 wing. All the time, people coming in and out of those gates, very problematic. Another problem, and you know, fortunately, unfortunately, we both work on the same campus, so we see a lot of the same things. But back in the back, which we have part of the 100 wing, we have the 300 wing, we have the 200 wing, and we have portables off to the side. The only way for our campus supervisors to get back there on their carts is through the grass. Through the grass between the 300 and 100 wing. If it's raining, it's muddy, it's sloppy. I kind of think something needs to be done about that. It doesn't seem right to be running through the grass to respond to something at the back of the campus. And I think it could hinder possibly getting there. So, you know, kind of keep that in mind. Training, I wasn't aware of this training that our certificated staff got about lockdown procedures and what to do. I have done the ALICE training, I don't know, it was like 5 years ago. But so classified staff is not necessarily trained in this as the certificated staff is. And again, safety is everyone's issue. It's not a certificated issue. It's not a classified issue. It's not a board issue. It's all of our issues, and it's important to all of us. And it's important that our staff is safe. I have paraeducators in classrooms. We have a classroom on the River Valley campus that not only has every single classified worker in there, but also the certificated worker have all been hurt in there in 1 week. Every single person. So, and this might be not be major injuries, but if staff is getting hurt in classrooms, regardless of what the capacity of that classroom is, we need to do something about it. We need to have additional staffing in there, and we need to have safe practices in place for our students and our staff, everyone. And again, that student engagement is also so important. We see it all the time. We can't walk through the hall without them, you know, on their cell phone, stopping, whatever the case may be, tweeting this, tweeting that, or whatever these kids do these days. I don't know. This is TikTok or something. But it's, I don't know. I barely do Facebook anymore. I kind of don't want to be blasted out or something. But this is an ongoing problem that our kids are not engaged, and they're very, very rude to staff all the time because they are in this new little bubble of their cell phones and their computers and that sort of thing, and they have forgotten all these social, emotional, and just standards practices that we have in a normal society. So that's something we really, really need to focus on. Yes. I just have their comments from board members. We'll talk on that one.
Yeah, I'd like to say, this stuff, as far as safety goes, I agree with you 100% on safety. It's important, and I think it really comes down to, it really starts at home, in my belief. And I was just talking amongst the board earlier that me personally, I was had a fear of God by my father, and it was simple. You step out of line, you get your butt kicked. And I think we've lost that as a whole. Kids have lack of respect for adults and authority. But it also comes down to beyond that, they're watching adults be released from jail and prison actually going to jail for stealing big item things such as, we'll say, catalytic converters. There's no punishment. So they're seeing it, there's no punishment even as an adult. So why are they going to be punished for school?
Well, it depends on where you are in the state.
Well, probably that's state we're in too. But I can say I agree with you 100%. Cell phones need to be restricted. We also think it starts at home. Parents need to back the teachers in the aspect of there's going to be some restrictions that I understand from some of the principals that they have pushback from parents, which is not right. And it should be pretty simple. Your cell phones to be put away at school, and used on lunch and after school. Period. Walking through the classrooms or in between classes, I don't think there's a need for it. So.
I was just gonna say, I would really appreciate it if the district office would bring more information to the board. I shouldn't feel like teachers who feel unsafe or things that happen at school classified or with certificated people shouldn't be coming to me necessarily only through employees who are afraid to speak out to others. I think that the district should be telling the board about some of the things that are going on in the schools a little bit more readily than what is happening.
And I'd agree with that too. I was not aware of the Gina artist thing. That does concern me. So making a comment.
I have a question. In light of just like what's come forward in the last couple of months, let's just say, but also like in the last 2 years, we have a handful of committees, and I just feel like we need to take a look at those committees and see what the relevance of them is. So like right now, an issue within the district is safety. Graduation met once in 2 years, right? I think once, the graduation committee. So like, can we kind of take a look at like what is needed right at this particular moment? When would be like a natural time to discuss either the formation of new committees or, I don't know.
Probably I would say.
December?
Yep.
Comments? Thank you, Jeff. Anyone?
I just have a couple. I agree that classified needs to be trained in a lot of the stuff as well as certificated. I thought we had discussed that already and put that on professional development days for classified as well. It's very important that they be filled and are involved in a lot of this. And speaking of classified, I just want to say I'm doing a lot more transportation for my grandkids these days and going places, which gets me driving around the schools. And I just want to hand it to some of those traffic crossing guards. I was first in place and I watched her being very patient, and I watched some of the other drivers not being so patient. And I look at what they have to go through on a day-to-day basis on the morning and then in the afternoon of those kids. And every school is different. I've been by Lincoln, just by chance I was there at that time. I wasn't picking anybody up. I've been over by Terrabuena. Today I was at Berry. Each one is different, but I have to say those crossing guards do their job and they do it well. And they, even though it's frustrating, I saw them being very respectful to the parents, smiling to the parents, to the kids, helping them across. And I mean, you bus drivers do a great job too, but I just want to say that I personally have had interactions with them, and I just thought that they're doing a good job. So I just want to say thank you to those crossing guards. I know they don't have a lot of hours in the day. You know, they like to help out, and they're doing a great job. So I appreciate them getting our little ones safely across the street.
We've heard a lot tonight about school safety, and we've had to rethink how we run the police academy to be better partners with school districts. I've offered, and Doreen has accepted, to bring some of my people in here to train classified and teachers on how to de-escalate situations without getting hurt. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but it does happen. I'm going to bring out the elephant in the room. We had an incident at everybody in there had a role to play, and they were all part of it. So I hope the parents are listening, because that is true. But other schools saw that, schools that we were going to play in football or basketball or any, where there's a large majority of minority students. And as Craig Rice said, they couldn't guarantee the safety of our players because of those videos. They were obscene. But I hope the leaders of this community speak out. I hope in order to protect teachers and classified, anybody that comes on our campus should not feel unsafe. And Greg is right. I'm my mid-70s, and I can tell you, my mother and father wore me out because I was in trouble all the time. But we've got to do something because Yuba City is better than that. And to have a reputation that, if you watch CNN and all those others, we didn't sound like a very nice place to live.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't. So, board, I hope I won't be here after December. Well, I'll be alive, but I won't be here. Got a lot to work on, but I'll still be in the community, and the teachers need help. My son's a teacher. He's been teaching for 28 years. And down in the Los Angeles area, they take a real different stance. But LA Unified has a police force of 8,000. So they have the protection, and we just have a lot to look at. Sorry I will talk so long. Thanks for indulging me, Superintendent.
I'm just sending you the flyer for the Fall into Leadership Festival, which is November 3rd. It's where our high school students mentor our community leaders in our middle and elementary. So if you have an opportunity, please come by.
So if we wanted to do that, it's at the church, so it's open. It'll be open for any of us to just walk on and be a part of it.
Yes,
Okay,
come in.
I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, that is, our next board meeting is October 25th.
No, November.
And I hope I'm there to see all of you. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake. where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
Skip's Marysville Music Cafe, with lessons, in person and personalized. Instruments including guitars and amps, horns, strings for instruments, and a myriad of music and sound equipment. Skip's Marysville Music Cafe.